Rorschach's Journal. October.
Good job, Adam.
Oh man,
Good intro.
Everybody.
Can we start over?
No.
Oh, god damn. I couldn't see the date. I couldn't see the date. God damn it.
We don't need to have these like 2-minute long monologues at the beginning of the podcast.
I was like, Andrew, you gotta let me intro. I've been thinking about this all day.
I've been thinking about it all day. I thought it in the last 2 seconds, you asshole.
I've
Anyway.
been hooked on this Watchmen thing.
Oh. Man, oh
Day and a
man,
half.
we're playing Watchmen. I can't believe it.
Why are we playing Watchmen? Stick around to find out.
Rorschach's Journal.
Probably something to do
October
with Watchmen.
19th, 2018. The blood fills the gutters and the streets that overflow and force scabs in the drains, causing the blood to overflow.
Makes sense.
Just like the rest of his monologue.
Hey,
Look
his
at all the
monologue
blood
is
coming out of him.
amazing,
Jesus
Adam.
Christ.
One of the best written characters ever.
Oh man, and look how he moves. He's like a drunken master.
Yeah. He's
Oh, it
badass.
won't even let me dodge now. Also, a couple of reused blood splats there. Oh, they're gone now. Okay.
Phew, don't worry about it. This game's not great.
Oh man, the hardest combo.
Hey, it is the date Adam said. You're watching the Pixel Junkies podcast.
Episode 182.
Oh man, where's Blink at?
What?
Don't
Oh,
blink, you
nah.
might miss it.
Oh,
For some reason, I thought you meant the obscure X-Men character and not the very popular,
And that
very
blinks?
popular band. What?
Blink 182 was huge.
Yeah, I know. Not anymore, though.
yeah, definitely more obscure than Blink the X-Man.
I said it was a super obscure reference, you fucking asswipe.
Yeah, but I assumed you meant. Oh, okay. I
What
assumed
was
you...
Blink's power?
She could teleport.
Oh, okay, that's better than what I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
What?
Okay,
Anyway.
no response to that.
Oh, dang.
I was thinking she just like no, really, Blink is the only superpower that made any sense there, to be
Now,
honest.
Not really.
If I remember
She
this,
could like open and close her vag. It looked like it blinking.
Okay.
if I remember the movie, one
That's
of
more
these
of a wink.
characters shouldn't be here.
Yeah, maybe. No,
Wink,
that's
that's-
the brown eye. That's her sister.
if you do both at once, that's the Blink.
Yeah,
But if you only do one, it's Wink.
yeah.
Ugh.
Blink and her
What?
sister Wink. Twin
If I
sister.
remember the movie, one of these characters shouldn't be in here.
What do you mean,
Sorry, what?
Nightman or whatever?
No, Rorschach. Aren't they? Should be break.
Rorschach?
Should they be
Shouldn't
break-
Crochet be in here or whatever?
Damn, where's
I'm
Rorschach
gonna
at?
fire this fucking bottle cap top at your head.
Does he burn? Yes.
Well, there goes all your health, you fucking dipshit.
Burning.
This
confirmed.
takes place before the movies.
Oh, okay,
The
good.
movie.
As opposed to the comic, which is the better thing.
Okay, it takes place before the comic as well. I don't know about Watchmen Origin or whatever. What is it? Is that the series? Watchmen Origins?
I don't know.
You're gonna
haven't read
lift
him.
it there, Nightman?
I've only read the actual comic.
I think you gotta help him. I just like the idea. He's like, help me, Rorschach! And Rorschach's there doing,
Rorschach's Journal.
Damn, Rorschach!
October
Help me
18th,
out.
2009. That's not my name.
Oh, he
What
had
you
to,
mean, Rorschach?
he had to take a break. Oh, okay, here we go.
Alright.
What happened this week, everybody?
We'll tell something about Watchmen, but we'll get to that. Hey! Did you know that Rockstar has graciously, your mic fell down, has graciously allowed the employees to use social media?
they weren't allowed to before.
There's a little bit of backstory there, but yeah, Rockstar have lifted their social media ban for a little while. There was a little bit of some controversy come out about Red Dead Redemption 2's development. In that Dan Houser, I think Rockstar's CEO,
Yeah. He was bragging about how the employees worked 100-hour weeks.
yeah, and that
To
everybody
get
was
ready for RDR2.
everybody was saying 100-hour weeks. That sounds like you're kind of working your employees
That's
into
a
the
terrible,
fucking ground.
terrible business practice.
Yeah.
And every manager there should be immediately fired.
So,
100-hour work weeks.
so anyway,
Also, the game's been in development since 2009, probably. Like, and they need to work 100-hour work weeks to get it up on the go. Jesus
well,
Christ.
Adam. What Dan was apparently referring to was some of the members of his writing staff which I think there were 4 people working 100-hour weeks, and who wanted to work 100-hour weeks to work on the story. And related to this social media ban that they've lifted. Was that?
Why bring it up?
I
feel like...
I think it was just something that came up in passing. I don't think it was meant to be anything massive, and then it kind of got blown out of proportion when he assumed he was talking about everyone working at the company. So they've now let a lot of the employees speak out about what's been happening, and it doesn't seem like any of the employees are being worked to the bone. None of them have any complaints, really. They're working regular weeks. Any overtime they've done is because they want to do it, with some of their managers saying you should just go home.
I think it's also worth bringing up that people that are no longer with the company have spoken out against pretty awful conditions there, though.
There's
also,
I mean, I guess
if you're in a
studio.
position where your company has to allow you to speak about your hours,
Well, I mean, I think
of course you're not going to say, "Yeah, working here is shit. I got to work 100-hour weeks." You're not going to be allowed to say that anyway, unless you want to lose your job.
Maybe. I think under the circumstances, I
think it's entirely suspect, and therefore none of this should be believed at all.
Yeah, but I don't think, like, I don't know, people say stupid shit on Twitter all the time, not expecting to lose their jobs. I think if your superiors said, like, everyone thinks we're working you to the bone, go on social media and say what you think. Like, I feel like that's what was the intent here.
So you're not going to go on social media and say, yeah, we're being worked to the bone. Because you will be fired.
Yeah, maybe.
You'll be let go.
I feel
You'll be on the short list of people to be let go.
But if everybody was being worked to the bone, do you think that would be the case? Like,
if everybody was, like, if Rockstar was confident, that if they came out and said, "Look, nobody's going to be fired," then they wouldn't allow people to speak on social media.
Yeah, but I think, like, in this day and age with, like, the Me Too stuff and everyone sort of fostering sympathy from kind of bullshitty things on the internet, if most of the employees came out and said our managers and our business model, our work ethic is bullshit, then I don't think they're going to be like, well, we're going to fire all of you. It's going to be like, well...
How do you not think that?
Because
that's
I feel
absolutely what would happen.
But
you don't
that
go
would
on
make
social media
Rockstar
and
look so
badmouth
evil.
your boss.
No, but that would make Rockstar look so evil. Like, everyone's saying, like, okay, all these employees are being worked to the bone.
Yeah, but people also want to keep their jobs.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I feel like I would like to think anyway, in this day and age, that wouldn't happen.
Look, even if it is completely honest and there's no, like, Rockstar is totally legit and all that, there's a shadow of a doubt here, and therefore none of this can be believed. Yeah, but because it's slightly suspect.
Yes, but this, like, exact sort of scenario has come up before with other companies, and it just, like, the company just falls apart.
Crunch is a huge issue in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely it is. But I mean, I don't think that's entirely on the management side of things.
It absolutely is. If your job is to make video games and you can't make video games without forcing your employees to work 100-hour weeks, you should not be making video games.
Yeah,
this should not be your job. You should not be in charge of those people. You've terribly mismanaged your crew.
If it's the case of management making you do specific things, if it's a case of management forcing you to do specific things, then I agree. But in the case of you wanting to work, and it ends up being long weeks, maybe longer than normal or longer than appropriate.
What if they want to work because they want to keep their jobs?
Yeah, but that's like, if you're working on a cool project and you enjoy it and you work long weeks, then I don't think that makes a difference. I don't think keeping your job should factor into it at all.
So you're saying, Aaron, that you want that if the person is working 100-hour weeks because they choose to work 100-hour weeks, that's fine. But if other employees in the company are not being forced to work those same hours, because if they don't, they'll lose their jobs, then that's fine.
Presumably, yes, that's my argument. But I think in this case where a company that isn't normally open to anything, like, we don't ever hear about what Rockstar is doing ever, basically. And in this instance, they're like, everyone thinks we're, like, slavers here, so just say, like, here's an opportunity to say something. And I don't know. I mean, if they have the power and capacity to monitor all of their employees to the point where none of them will actually speak the truth about being forced to work long hours, then props to whoever the fuck their management team is, because I feel like that would be impossible with like 9,300 employees or whatever the hell they have.
Why weren't they allowed to talk on social media before? Is it just about their jobs?
I think it was just like non-disclosure about anything that they were doing. Like, you know.
So it's not that they can't have social medias; they can't discuss their jobs on social media.
Yeah, I think it was just like I think it was just straight up, don't talk about where you're working on. Don't talk about your work environment. Not necessarily. I don't know where the fuck I'm supposed to go.
I do agree with Andrew that crunch is obviously a big issue in the industry.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not sure if in this case Rockstar is guilty of crunch, but I do think that crunch, obviously it happens, and I don't think it's a very good way to run any kind of company, but specifically one video game company is it does not work, or at least, I mean, sure, you get the product out, but you're burning out employees, and it just creates a very toxic workspace. Whereas somewhere like, apparently, Insomniac is a very good place to work, and they have a very good work environment.
And if it was somewhere like EA or something, then I would be much more likely to just straight up agree. But with someone like Rockstar, who make a game every 10 years... Like, if it got to the point where they were forcing all of their employees to work weird hours, I feel like they would just delay the game another 6 months. And be like, you know what, this isn't working.
I mean, they have delayed games before.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, Red Dead has been delayed like twice already, so I don't feel like crunch is necessarily the issue. Anyway, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just speaking my mind here, so... I don't know. I would like to think that in Rockstar's case it isn't. I know there was an issue with like Team Bondi had that issue with poor management on Rockstar's behalf, but I don't know if that was entirely Rockstar or if it was just the managers at Team Bondi.
Audio listeners are gonna love this.
What audio listeners?
Anyway, so I'm not.
Oh, he's on fire now.
But I guess also there's the side of it, like, why would he bring it up?
I think Dan Houser is like extremely out of touch, and he thought, 100-hour weeks is a good thing. That's how I'm seeing this.
No, I don't see it that way. I think it was just like,
that's what we'll do to win this war.
That's progress.
Yeah, but like if you, Andrew, for instance, work like a 70-hour week, that's not then representative of everybody else in your company.
No,
right?
Not necessarily.
And you might just say, like, I had a really fucked up week. I worked 70 hours.
Right.
That's not speaking on behalf of your management saying they forced you to work 70 hours.
No, but why would you bring it up?
Because you're just saying, like, I had a rough week. I worked 70 hours. You're just kind of...
Yeah, but why would Dan Houser, the CEO, bring it up? Because hours like that look bad. Because it's a sign of mismanagement.
Yeah, well, exactly. So
nobody works those hours unless you're being mismanaged. That's what I'm saying. So why would it be brought up to begin with? And what I'm saying is I think it's because Dan Houser is completely out of touch.
No, I don't think so.
And he thinks it's a good thing. So he brings it up and then it's like, oh, these...
I don't think any reasonable
low-class citizens...
I don't think any reasonable person can think that 100-hour weeks is a good thing.
Speaks, by the way.
I don't think anybody can think that working that many hours a week is reasonable and expected.
Well, I did a bit of quick calculation in my head, and that's over 12 hours a week, every day, like weekends included.
Yes.
If you want it, because 12 times 7 is 84. So 13 is 92, and then so it'd be either 13 or 14 hours if you want, if you want the ballpark. You can't get exactly 100. Let's say 14 hours a day. That means if you got into work at 6 o'clock in the morning, like sat at your desk at 6 o'clock in the morning, you would work till 6 and then work till 10. 12 or 10 hours, then 12.
I don't think anybody volunteers to work a 100-hour week.
No. I mean, except for astronauts, because,
I mean, you're kind of forced to at that point.
No, but I
in
mean,
the space station.
he was also... I mean, we can only go by what they were saying. He was referring to the writing team. I mean, we don't know that he's referring to 100 paid hours.
But we've also got people like former employees of Rockstar coming out and saying, yes, conditions are awful. Yes, we're forced to work long hours. Yes, the team is mismanaged.
I didn't read any of that from this. Like, I don't know where...
You're not going to hear that from employees. That's what I'm saying. And you're not going to hear it from Dan Houser either.
But, I mean, he said it
Because
himself.
if you say it, if this is what you're saying, you're going to be on the short list to lose your job.
I don't know. I mean, you
'Cause-
can only
'cause
you can only go by what they're saying. The people who are currently working there,
They're not
I
going to
feel-
keep people around that
No, but
they
you're not
think
you're not
are
improving your
bad-mouthing the
working you're not
company.
improving your work environment if you go along with it. So why would you like, oh yeah, you're working me to the bone. I agree though. I like keeping my job.
Because there's been like cases in the industry before where people have been fired if they speak out. That's why people are
Yeah,
very...
but isn't that like
We're
doesn't
talking
that
about-
go against some law?
It does, but they won't say we're firing you because you spoke out about this. They'll say we're firing you because you're
Yeah, but if
conduct is not-
all
we're
of your
talking about people
employees
with families that need health care, that need
Yeah.
all these other things.
But if all
They
of your
need their
employees
jobs.
spoke out against you as it being unlawful,
Yeah, but the chances of all of your employees speaking out against you.
well, now's the opportunity to do it because you're in the spotlight.
Yes, I mean, but you would need like an overwhelming majority of employees to come out and speak up on this issue, which is probably not going to happen because more often than not they're going to be like, I just want to keep my job, keep my head down, that sort of thing. And if I was in their situation, I don't know if I would not do the same. It's very well and good to say I want to take a moral stance with respects to this issue, and I want to fight against this sort of behavior in the industry. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to lose my job and then get blacklisted in the community, being like, hey, that's that guy who spoke out against when he was working for Rockstar, I'm not going to hire him because he's just going to speak out when I do something shitty.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if Rockstar is doing that or not, but if I'm sure other companies have.
The problem is that kind of mentality exists.
Yeah.
That kind of thing does happen, and therefore you can't believe any of this.
Yeah.
You can't trust a single word of any of this. That's the problem. No matter how genuine it all is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, you're given the opportunity here. I mean, I said it before, but you're given the opportunity here to speak your mind after one of your higher-ups has already, supposedly admitted to unlawful working conditions. Here's your opportunity to go, yeah, they are unlawful.
I don't know if they're unlawful, but they're not.
Well, apparently. I mean, you're working 100-hour weeks. It seems a bit unrealistic.
Again, I don't know. As long as you're being compensated for it. But at the same
You're
time, a lot of
rarely
companies are-
You're rarely forced to work those hours,
but it's
like
expected.
yeah,
If you don't work these
it's
hours,
an
you're fired.
expectation, and you'll like I said, you'll be on the short list if you don't.
And kind of a broader stance, let's taking the conversation away from Rockstar and just talking about crunch in general. I don't care. Your job could be to sit down and Aaron, what's your favorite thing to do ever? Like your favorite activity?
Beaten off.
If you were forced to beat off for 14 hours a day,
It's not. He's not forced. It's just expected.
okay, well, if it was expected of you to beat off for 14... And I'm not talking like you beat off and then you take a break for 2 hours. You're beating off constantly as soon as you get
No
off.
refractory
No
period.
refractory. You're immediately... You get 2 minutes and then you're wanking again. You're doing 100 ejaculations.
Kind of a poor
a day.
example.
You're given a ice cream tub. You're given an ice cream tub. Like, hey, fill this every day.
Yeah.
I mean, you would burn out. I mean, I love writing, but if I had to write 14 hours every day for a week, especially if it's somebody else, if it's for if I'm writing my own novel, if I'm writing my own novel,
I thought we were
it's just
still
me.
talking about jerking off.
And I am, hence my own novel. And I wrote 14 hours a day for a week to get my novel finished. That's one thing. But if I'm writing 14 hours a week to get somebody else's project off the ground, then that's completely different. And even then, after that week, I'm gonna be burnt the fuck out from writing. I'm gonna need to take a week or two break to be like, Jesus Christ, I need to, because you do get, people get burned out. No
It
matter
sounds
what
like
it
you
is.
don't respect your employer.
I don't.
mean,
If
Well-
you don't care as much about what they want as what you want.
I mean, there are. I think the games industry is unique in that respect. Like, yes, forcing your employees to work long hours for crunch time is stupid. But I think that also is kind of expected in the industry. Like, we've been making AAA games now for a couple of decades,
Right.
and it's kind of just part of the job now.
But it's still bad.
It's still bad.
It's
yeah,
still
but
mismanagement.
I still like. I don't know if it's entirely mismanagement. I feel like maybe that just comes with certain things aligning a certain way, and that's how it ends up. Like, maybe you could have managed things better, yes, but then like how many extra millions of dollars is like, yeah, but I mean, like, how much further out of your way can you go to make the other solution that much more profitable? So anyway, I just think if you're getting into the industry now, I think that's a part of it. And some of the development teams, not everybody's going to be opposed to working long hours to, put a big project like Red Dead Redemption together. If I was working on that myself and it was like, you should maybe work like, 70-hour weeks maybe. I mean, you don't have to, but it is kind of expected, and we are trying to get this project out. We would really appreciate if you work those hours.
Okay, but what does that mean?
I wouldn't be entirely opposed to it.
You don't have to, but it's expected. What does that mean?
It means you're not going to get fired, but you may, I don't know. Who knows what it means?
Okay, but when it comes time to lay people off, are you going to keep the guy that chooses to work that extra time? Or
well, I mean, exactly.
Keep the guy that doesn't, that has a family that has to
not necessarily,
go home and see their children grow
It's not necessarily always like black and white. Like,
Okay.
that person who's working those hours might want to do that. Like, they might enjoy the project. They might, they might not want to work those hours, but they like working there and they enjoy working on the project. So, I don't know. I don't think it's as black and white as all of that.
No, it's not. But there are certain, like, I would say that, like, if somebody wants to work 70 hours, that's one thing. But then, like, if I'm a 20-year-old college student and I want to work 70 hours a week to get this game out, that's fine. But at the same time, if I'm 30 years old and have 2 kids, I mean, I don't want to work 70 hours or 100 hours a week or whatever.
30 with 2 kids. Jesus.
I want to go home and see my family at some point, and I do agree with, I do agree with Andrew, but I think what's less than that, I think we have to worry more about fucking hell.
What is going on?
We have to worry about people not being compensated for their overtime. So even if you're working overtime, you're not getting compensated for it. You're still making. You're still only getting paid for the first 40 hours or whatever, but you're working 100. Like half the time that you're working is not being paid.
That's a big problem, yeah.
And I mean that's prevalent in a lot of industries.
I mean, some of the things that I read said that they worked overtime, but they were paid for it. I mean, that's again, if you're gonna call that into suspect, it's just as either true or false as the opposite being spoken about not being paid. I don't know. We can probably move on from this. I mean, I don't think.
I think we're just going around in circles at this point.
Well, it's all we don't know. We either do know the facts and don't have enough evidence to really believe them, or don't know the facts. So I don't know. Do or don't do what you're doing, Rockstar.
All I'm saying is, there's a shadow of doubt there, so you really can't believe it.
Speaking of Red Dead, kind of tangentially, before we get on to like the next major topic.
Oh, great!
We had the download sizes. For both for Red Dead for both PC or PS4 and Xbox One. Came out this week. It's apparently 107 gigabytes for the digital and physical copies on the Xbox One. And the PS4 version, it's 99 gigs for the physical copy, and for the digital copy, it's 149 gigs. So it looks like I'm going out and buying the physical copy, because I don't know if I want to put 149 gigs.
Well, apparently the digital copy is 99 as well, but you need an extra 50 to download it. So you need 149 to actually download the game, but the game, when it's like installed and finished, ready to play on your console, will still be 99.
What the fuck kind of sense does that make?
I don't know. Probably the same bullshit. I needed like an extra 200 gigs on my PlayStation to download Destiny when I did that.
You're downloading compressed files.
It's probably audio or textures or something. Probably compressed audio. So I don't know.
Still though, like 99 gigs. That's one of the largest, if not the largest game I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a little bit larger than the current GTA 5 file size.
Which is, what? At
About
this point-
85 at the moment.
And that's after like 8 years of updates or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what it is on. I don't know what it is on consoles, but it's that on PC at the moment. And yeah, I mean they've been adding stuff to it for 5 years, so.
Fuck. That's
Fucking
a
die
massive
already.
game.
But yeah, it's a big file size. I mean, games are getting to that now. Like there was what was the other game that came out? Said it was like 120 gigs or something.
Frogger.
There was some other AAA game coming out. I don't know what it was,
Yeah,
but it
Frogger.
was like Anthem or something like that. I don't know how they know to size. Something
Oh
like that.
man, Anthem. Definitely gonna clear 120
The most
gigs.
anticipated game of the year.
Yeah, 120 gigs of space for my on my hard drive. Done. I'm just gonna get
man.
rid of Spider-Man and God of War. Right off there.
Is
Get
Anthem
ready
even coming out this year, or was that?
I think it's next year.
Next year, yeah.
Right.
Oh,
They need
maybe
time
it's
to polish
maybe
up
it was
the micro-
Cyberpunk. I think it was Cyberpunk. They said it was
Yeah.
like 120
Okay,
gigs or
that's
something.
more acceptable.
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
I wanna find out like the maximum size of like the lowest maximum size for most consoles out there, and then make a game that's one below that. So like, my game is 499 gigs. Like, why? It's like I don't know. It's mostly just uncompressed audio.
That's what MGS4 was. It like filled the Blu-ray disc because it used uncompressed audio.
Yeah, it was
That's good.
Titanfall did that as well.
Yeah.
The first Titanfall.
Yeah. On PC anyway. I don't remember the console version.
Oh, it's Fat Osborne.
I like when his head went back. His head hit the dumpster and made like a noise.
Does he look like Fat Ozzy Osbourne?
Oh yeah, a little bit. Or just regular Ozzy Osbourne now.
What's this guy doing?
Just kill him already. There's like teeth keep flying out. Okay, Jesus Christ.
Well, the Rorschach fights like he's drunk.
He is. Also, you can't fucking see you.
He's got to keep putting his hands in his pockets.
Like how immediately it goes right back to the pocket. Like immediately back. He doesn't even wait. He's just like punch pockets, punch pockets. Calm down, man. Anyway, speaking also of Red Dead Redemption 2, apparently the PC version, we got a rumor about that this week. Andrew, do you know any more about that?
No, not a thing.
Andrew, do you know or Aaron, do you know any more about that?
Yes. Well, I mean, a couple months back, there was a rumor where it got listed on some dude's portfolio on like LinkedIn or something as a dude porting it for PC, and that was quickly removed. And then this week we had another rumor where it was listed as a PC version that was once again being ported. So I don't remember where that exact listing was, but that was also removed. So I mean, just another one in the whole maybe a PC version coming our way. But I think that listing mentioned for next year. So it'll be at
That'd
least
be
a year
cool.
away.
We'd have to double dip to get it
Yeah.
again, like we did with GTA.
Yeah, I think that was some of the. Oh, okay, that was some of the explanation here is that they're not mentioning the PC version to make sure that they like maximize their console sales,
Yeah.
and then be like, oh, hey, there's a PC version we forgot to tell you about.
If you want to play it, just simply spend another $100.
Yeah. But I mean, I would probably do that anyway, just because
What are you guys getting it on anyway?
I already got it on
PS4.
PS4.
You downloaded it. You pre-bought
I
it.
pre-bought it,
pre-ordered
yeah.
Oh, you're
you
what's wrong with
scrub.
the industries.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got $2 million in GTA out of it.
You know how Rockstar would really maximize sales? Bring out Red Dead Redemption 1 on PC as well.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool.
Release them as a package for like $120.
That'd be cool. It'd be cool if like they released it on PC, and at the end of Redemption 1, there's like a trailer for Redemption 2. You're like, oh man, oh, what's this?
Wait, why is John still alive in this one?
Yeah, a little bit.
His cape physics are awesome. It's
Man,
like it's
he's
like
a-
Arkham's
He's
Knight.
a cool guy. Oh my god, what's happening? Get out of here.
Like at the beginning of a fight, you get mobbed for the first 10 seconds because you don't know what's going on, and you start tossing guys into a single room. Also, that dude is just like a fat uncle waddling his way back from the beer tent at like I don't know, like Salmon Fest or whatever. Like, oh jeez, I got my Coors Light and I gotta get back. I don't want to miss John Fogerty.
What a shitty name. Anyway,
He just got finished inappropriately telling his niece to sit on his lap. You know, like creepy uncles.
Not really, no.
anyway, speaking of shitty companies and poor working
yeah,
conditions.
apparently Telltale is being sued for an obscene amount of money.
Yeah, speaking of mismanagement. What?
I did a segue already. It's like, yeah, apparently Telltale is... Oh, wait, I see what you're doing. Never mind. I'm the asshole in this situation.
Oh, am I dead? No, okay. I just have a dick hair hell.
No, I'm generally being serious. That was me being an asshole because I didn't understand what you were doing. I thought you were introing over my intro, but you were just agreeing with me, but it sounded like...
Speaking of an obscene amount of money and bad companies, Telltale's being sued.
By employees.
Okay.
They let go.
What?
You know how the company kind of just folded within a week?
Yeah, that's different than this, but yes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, you know more than I do, so go ahead.
Well, so apparently Telltale were also working on, because they know only how to work on episodic interactive story games. Another one of their projects, and actually, funnily enough, because me and Andrew mentioned it a number of times, they need to update their fucking game engine. They were actually planning to do that with this project, which was a Stranger Things game. And that I supposedly got leaked. I guess in the midst of them being sued and all the employees being laid off, information about the game got leaked. And I don't know, I guess there was some clause in the contract with Netflix, because they're now being sued by Netflix for $1 million for leaking that information.
I think this was for the Minecraft thing as well that Netflix was producing, which was also leaked.
Maybe.
That's what I heard about this.
I heard Stranger Things, but that's also probably related. I don't know if that was going to be a game on Netflix. Was that the plan?
I don't know what the Minecraft thing was.
And there's more holes in Telltale, apparently, than a dude whose buddy got a hold of an M60 machine gun is firing it wildly down the road.
Oh, man. I remember that reference.
Yeah. A reference. I'm just describing a very particular situation that's applicable to ours.
You know, it didn't happen to me at all. Don't worry about it. Anyway, so I mean, Telltale. You know, there you go. I guess you could kind of see the signs on that company having issues along the way, but man, they're in some hot water now.
I like the idea. It's like, okay, we got $1 million. All we need to do is we need to properly invest. If we get one game out. If we get just one more game out, that should be able to save us as a company all the time. Yeah, you're being subpoenaed. Here's you're being sued for $1 million by Netflix. No, and he the officer takes the check away, and he's like, "Hey, no, this is mine. This is not how it works." Like, wait, get back here, Officer Sleaze, and he's like, "Never." I don't know why I gave them their own little radio drama about that, but there we go.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
Do you like Watchmen?
Well, man, we're getting
I do actually.
it.
I like the comics a lot.
This is why we're playing Watchmen.
It's probably my favorite ever comic book, which is saying a lot. Like, I know it's like everyone's kind of favorite. But it's so
serious. I thought you didn't like serious things.
For the most part, no. But there's something about this comic book that's just Jesus Christ. There's just very. It's just so well done and and it does so many good things well. It's like a love letter to the old.
My favorite part of the comics is when Rorschach flicks a fat guy.
Anyway, yeah, I'm a big fan. Why?
Apparently, next year you'll be getting a show from HBO.
Okay, I don't know why it's not like that, but I'm excited. Is it like a remake of the movie?
I think it's just taking the world of Watchmen, making a series.
That could be interesting, depending on how they do it and what characters they focus on. Because Watchmen is very bleak. It's obviously a very bleak story with very kind of bleak characters, and I think that there's a lot that HBO could do for that. I hope they bring Alan Moore in as a producer or in a writing capacity, because it's kind of needed to. I would bring him in just to kind of get the spirit of a lot of the characters. Watchmen is actually interesting because
Before Watchmen. That's the origin comic. Those are the origin comics.
Yes. There is a back in the 80s, DC acquired Charleston Comics, and they got a bunch of different comic book characters that they wanted to introduce into the DC universe now that they had access to these characters. And Alan Moore pitched a story that would bring these characters into the universe, and it was the story of Watchmen. And DC read the pitch and was like, this is really good, but we don't want to ruin these characters that we've just brought in, because that's what this would do, is absolutely ruin these characters in the eyes of our readers. And he's like, oh, okay. It's like, but we'd love to see you write that script. So he very, subtly changed some of the characters. So, originally...
I.e. made them much better. In a lot of the cases.
Yeah. Well, he certainly made them better suit the story that he was going to tell. Rorschach was supposed to be the Question, and Blue Beetle was... Night Owl was supposed to be Blue Beetle. Dr. Manhattan, I believe, was Captain Atom.
I know you like Blue Beetle.
It would have been Ted Kord. Ted Kord's Blue Beetle, as opposed to Jaime Reyes, which is the one that I like. But
Rorschach is much better than
well, I don't think Rorschach necessarily would do a good job fitting in with the DC world, because, well, he might. But some of the other characters, although they are bringing them in now, but I don't want to talk about it.
I think in any ordinary DC story, Rorschach would be a villain, not a...
Yeah. It would depend on how you...
quote-unquote hero.
But, I'm not arguing that we shouldn't have got the story of Watchmen, because it is one of my favorite pieces of media of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm interested to see what they do with this series. I mean, obviously Netflix is known for extremely high-quality programming. Watchmen is widely considered the most... beloved comic of all time in terms of, mass appeal and just loved by those who read it. The only problem I have with this is that every other piece of Watchmen media that we've ever gotten has not been as good as Watchmen.
I liked the movie.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Watchmen is so good that it's hard for anything to measure up. It'd be like...
Oh, yeah. This show is absolutely not going to measure up to the comic.
It'd be like, any other fantasy movie attempting to be as good as Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. You're probably not going to be as good because that's so good.
Yeah.
Strive for it, and if you are as good, Jesus Christ, that's excellent. But I don't know if it's going to be as good.
I don't think it was that good.
What, the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Really?
What?
Yeah, it was kind of boring.
Oh, he's being cheeky.
Not really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of long and
Jesus
boring.
I
Christ.
don't even want to be on
I
this
think we
podcast.
should just go home.
Yeah.
All right,
We
see
should
you later.
turn this off and just leave.
Anyway, so looking forward to that. They announced any actors or directors or writers or anything?
I think they have a cast. I didn't look into it so much. One thing I did read that was really cool, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross
Ooh.
will be doing at least
Directing?
some of the soundtrack.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's cool. I think that's a good fit for the world. One thing I'm excited for is just the world of the Watchmen. Not necessarily their take on the story of the comic, because it's a series. They get to explore a whole bunch of other stuff as well. It would be cool to eventually get to the story of the original comic, but maybe they want to do some of the before Watchmen stuff as well.
I mean, this is probably going to be a lot about the Minutemen.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff.
I think since the comic is so long and there's so much going on, I think a series really is the best way to
Yeah.
adapt that for.
Well, even like
for
a mini series or a
screen.
max like a 12 episode thing.
Yeah.
Almost like Band of Brothers. Speaking of which, I watched a bit of that the other day. Band of Brothers still holds up, really fucking good.
Have you seen the Pacific?
I watched the first 3 episodes a long time ago. I found it was all right, not as good as Band of Brothers, I thought.
Oh, you can't pick these ones up. Okay.
I like parts of the Pacific more than Band of Brothers, but yeah, you're right. It's not as good overall as Band of Brothers.
Cool.
But I do want to at some point watch it.
You should.
Anyway, apparently, Bethesda's being accused of being a bad company.
What?
No, that's not.
SOS Jesus
That's
Christ.
not what it says at all.
SOS.
It doesn't say SOS either.
Schlongs of
Try again.
Skyrim.
What the fuck does it say? Oh, whatever. What's the story, Aaron? You seem to know it.
Yeah, so not related to Bethesda being a bad company at all.
I don't know why I read that. To be fair, it is on.
We'll get to why they're a bad company in a minute.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying they are or they aren't. Bethesda have come under fire recently for the Brotherhood of Steel showing up in Fallout 76.
Oh yes.
And they have explained that they have given their reasoning as to why, from a lore perspective, they have shown up. These fucking buttons don't do anything.
Can I ask a lore question?
Absolutely.
When
Adam.
does 76?
Oh my god, I've waited so long for you to ask me a lore question about Fallout. Please do.
When is 76 supposed to take place?
2102.
So when the
I
Great
think,
War,
or
the Great,
2105, Aaron?
2102.
2102.
and the Great War was started when
2077.
20. So it's like what 25 years.
25 years exactly.
Okay, so is this canonically the first game then in the franchise, or when does Fallout 1 happen?
After this.
Okay, so this is canonically the first.
I think Fallout 1 is 2182, 80.
I believe this
Around
is
there?
the first iteration outside of the vaults in the
Okay.
Fallout storyline.
Well,
Interesting.
outside of the beginning of Fallout 4, this is the earliest point in the timeline that we've seen in the series.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't the Brotherhood of Steel show up like not too far before the first game? Like that's when they first make their emergence later
So,
on in the 21st century.
In canon,
22nd.
Oh, why can't I remember his name? His
Maxon?
first name. I know Maxon.
Robert? Is it Robert?
I think it's Roger.
Roger.
Yeah.
Roger.
Roger Maxon.
Roger.
Oh,
He's like he's military.
Yeah.
And he finds himself inside of a bunker while the Great War happens.
It's the
and he
forced evolutionary viruses in there, right?
Yeah, he discovers that and kind of like, oh fuck this all. But he forms the Brotherhood of Steel basically 2077.
Oh.
So that's when they're formed. So while
Where does
while the Brotherhood of Steel
counter.
in
Oh, my Jesus.
West Virginia still makes no sense, no real sense,
because then
they would have existed at this point in the world.
okay, but they wouldn't have made it all the way out to Virginia because they were on the
No,
other...
but
They wouldn't
Bethesda's
have.
explanation for this is Roger Maxon sent out a radio signal
Oh.
to create, to form the Brotherhood of Steel across America.
Why not just make a new faction?
Good point, Adam.
I think they have made a couple
there's
new
no
factions.
chance you working at Bethesda anytime soon.
I think they have made a couple of new
This
factions.
is why I want
but-
Fallout Europe.
I mean, at least they
They'd
explained
have the
it.
Enclave and the Brotherhood of Steel over there if this was made by Bethesda.
I mean, they have tried to explain it. I don't think it's that ridiculous. You're gonna have to wait and see in what capacity the Brotherhood of Steel shows up, other than that one note you mentioned.
They're all wearing the same clothing and they're all using that
they?
same
Are
symbol
they in the game?
as they are in Fallout 4, which is 200 years later.
Yeah, but have we seen that? Because they only mention. I don't know if they do show.
we
Okay.
see that we all the clothing and stuff is basically Fallout 4
Okay.
items.
I've only seen the note where they're mentioned.
There's the note, and you see their their icon, the gears and the sword.
Yeah.
You see that spray painted on a few barriers,
What the fuck happened there? This game is dog shit.
on a
Okay.
few
Fuck me.
barricades that are set up in the world. So somehow Arthur Maxon is in Fallout 4. Somehow Roger Maxon has formed this super competent, apparently the West Virginia faction of the Brotherhood of Steel, at this point, 25 years after the Great War, is this massive, successful faction way before Roger Maxon, who's actually started the faction, gets around to it when we see him in Fallout 1.
Is there a reason this had to take place before any of the other games and not after?
Because
there's building mechanics.
building mechanics, and they want all the people to be player characters.
Yeah, I think
What
the
the hell would that matter?
I think the idea is there's building mechanics, and they don't want there to be many people around or many camps or anything.
The real
around.
thing is they didn't want to write a bunch of quests.
I mean, realistically, yeah.
Building. What do you mean building mechanics? Why
So-
wouldn't they be able to have building mechanics?
They would, but by setting it this early, there wouldn't be any big formed.
There wouldn't be any
cities or
big
anything.
settlements around. It's kind of just the wasteland.
So they're just
and-
being lazy about it.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
what I've been
it's
saying from the beginning, Adam.
yeah. I mean, that's what
about
this
this
is.
more.
It's just a multiplayer sandbox game. There's
Yeah.
nothing special about it. in
That's
terms of
literally
Fallout.
all this is.
Exactly.
Without
yeah.
any depth at all. Clearly.
That's what I've been saying from the beginning. Also, so kind of interesting.
I'm hearing two different tones. Two different tones alert. Uh-oh.
I'm having trouble grasping how anybody is excited for this game at this point.
Because it's a co-op Fallout experience.
Without any depth at all.
They don't need depth.
They've stripped
here we
out
go.
what little depth the series still had, and they're presenting it like, give us money now, please. Money. Hey, Brotherhood of Steel, remember them? You want to look like them? Give us some of that tasty money for microtransactions, for these tasty cosmetic microtransactions, for this faction
I mean, you
that we
can't
have to
buy them.
shoehorn into this game.
Oh, yeah, the cosmetics you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really care. It's co-op Fallout. I'm buying it.
They won't sell as many made-up faction items as they would Brotherhood of Steel items. So that's why they're in this game.
I mean, maybe. I really don't care. I mean, it looks. I mean, it's got the same gunplay from Fallout 4 and co-op. So sign me up.
But none of the quests. Not really.
I
You
mean,
can talk to a robot, and he can tell you to go kill 5 items.
don't matter.
Go collect 5 items.
I'm playing co-op. Sign me up,
Who are you going to play with?
Dave. And whoever else plays it on Twitch, probably a couple of people. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, it looks like fun. Obviously, it's not the same narrative depth as the other games, but I mean, didn't Fallout 4 have any narrative depth anyway? So I'm gonna do the same thing I had in 4.
I think Fallout 4 did have some narrative depth.
Not really.
It didn't have a lot of narrative choice. But narrative depth was decent.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, it had a story, but
It had a story and it had
200 of
themes.
the 220 hours I played, it was running around in the wasteland reading stuff.
To be fair, well, this isn't really a Mark 4 or against Fallout 4, but I read a thing the other day. Somebody took a screenshot
God.
of the comment section from Pornhub, and it was
Preston Garvey.
yeah, Preston Garvey. It was like, Vault Dweller. When you're done fapping, there's a settlement out west of Emerald City that really needs your help. I need you to head out there and help them out right away.
Diamond City.
Whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's not
Like,
Skyrim.
I like that
I don't
Nightman
like that
is
lore.
helping me here. Just standing over there like a piece of shit.
You mean not Batman?
Whatever the fuck he is, Dark Man or something like that.
Night Owl is his name.
Whatever.
Still on Bethesda.
Oh, dude,
Still on Bethesda. I hope you're all happy with the current Bethesda single-player games we've got. Because
What do you mean?
Pete Hines, in an interview recently, has said that the timeline of Bethesda titles will more or less remain the same as far as he knows. So the time between Fallout 3 and Skyrim, 3 years. Time between Fallout 4, Fallout 76, 3 years. So
I think that's reasonable. So
I hope you're good with Fallout 76 being the game we have for the next 3 years.
as opposed to Fallout 4 being the game we had 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, different studios making
Yeah, but
this, so it
a
doesn't
big
matter.
argument that people were coming out with, like Fallout 76, is like, this is a side game. It's not affecting their actual workload.
That dude is shitbag.
Well, clearly it is.
Is it though?
And they've opened up other studios as well. So they've got 3 big studios now. And like the timeline of their games is remaining the same. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but I mean, this studio, the studio that's making 76 is a new studio, I believe.
Right. So why is it still going to take 3 years?
Because I
another
guess the
title
studios
to
that work on the big projects.
So it actually takes 6 years now.
I mean, I guess I don't know.
If,
I mean,
if
stuff
Starfield comes out in 3 years, if we don't get Starfield for 3 years, it would have been 6 years since Fallout 4 if the Maryland studio is the one making this.
I'm excited for Starfield.
I mean,
too.
if they kept the same size, then it wouldn't have made a difference anyway. Like if we get the project at the same intervals we've been getting them, and these like side games where they experiment with
No,
stuff.
we would have doubled the time.
Well, how would we have doubled it? They either would have made Starfield or not. Like we have Starfield now. That probably wouldn't have happened. and we would just get like the next Elder Scrolls, and that would be
Right,
it.
but
And it'd
Pete
be the
Hines
same
is
amount of
saying
time.
it's 3 years. 3 years, which would be incorrect.
Maybe
if
3
it's-
more years.
If it's 3 years, and Fallout 76 is the game they release after the 3 years, but Fallout 76 is being made by a different studio, the 3 years is a lie because it would actually be 6 years if it's coming from that same Maryland studio.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're just talking about like all of their titles, all of their big titles. So I mean, like, you know, it would either be that or nothing. So I mean, I don't know. It really doesn't matter to me.
I'd rather be getting Starfield this year.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, but I mean, like, if you're to pull it apart a bit, I feel like that almost has like a whiff of entitlement about it. Like, they're doing what they're doing because they have the money to invest in that stuff. We would either not have 76 and Starfield if they didn't invest in new studios. Maybe one of those projects, maybe it would have been Starfield.
But the
maybe
investment
it would
in
have
that
been Fallout.
studio is resulting in this shallow husk of an experience.
Yeah, but I mean, how much? Like, they spent time making that engine multiplayer compatible, so that's like a useful asset in the future. I mean, maybe let me do something with that for other projects going forward. But I mean, how many man hours have they spent on actually developing this game? I mean,
Why are you fighting
new
like,
assets maybe. A lot of them are
Mongolians?
reused. The
Remember when
mechanics
they
are all the
fought
same.
Mongolians and Watchmen?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they haven't from like a investment standpoint. This isn't a massive. This
From
isn't
an
a massive
investment
workload.
standpoint, Fallout 76 makes the most sense in the world.
But it's very little man hours and probably a big return on money.
Yeah.
So it's like, why? I don't think it matters.
It
Anyway.
does matter because if we're following the 3-year thing, and Fallout 76 wasn't an issue, didn't exist,
I mean, it's
we'd
still
be
a
getting an
release,
actual
though.
single-player RPG this year. And not Fallout 76.
Yeah, but would Pete have said the same thing if Fallout 76 wasn't in development?
Like
Pete
the-
wouldn't have said anything.
Like the idea
Well,
of
exactly.
it, like being like talking to Pete
Fucking
like
die.
about Pete like we know him personally. Like, oh yeah, well, what do you think Pete would have done in this situation? Good old Petey.
Pete's a bit of a scumbag, so I don't care.
I like the idea of him coming out and being like, all right, and now to announce the new game, Wayne Gretzky 06 or whatever the fuck I wanted to make back in the day.
Why does this game run 20 feet and kill another 70 guys?
Because it's a beat 'em up.
Stop dodging me, you stupid asshole, Genghis Khan, whatever the hell.
Anyway, if we're following the 3-year thing, which Pete Hines has said is probably fine.
I don't think Pete knows what he's doing anyway.
Pete doesn't know shit, but he did say 3 years. If we're following that, Starfield 3 years, Elder Scrolls 6 years.
That's
Fallout,
probably, I mean, he
single player 2027 is potentially, if we're following this, 2027 is
Oh my
when we'll get
God.
the next actual single player Fallout experience. If he's to be believed here.
I mean, if that's how
That's a
long it
long
takes
way
him to do
away,
it.
so
If that's how long it takes him to do it, then whatever.
Fallout 76 or Fallout Fallout 5 will come out
God.
2 months before Kingdom Hearts 3.
yeah.
Very quickly. I suppose the last thing we should talk about is
The
the
last thing?
Yeah.
I'm seeing 2 other things here.
oh
Aaron, what's going on in Elite?
It's a good thing you pull up the topic list, Adam.
well the last thing that we talked about was the second last thing on the list.
Yeah, I forgot to move the thing in the middle
Oh.
there, so I had to skip it.
Oh.
What's going on in Elite?
Well, the final update of the year is coming out of the Beyond Series updates, Chapter 4. They've started announcing a number of the things that are going to be in it. We'll probably get a bit more in-depth with it when the beta comes out later this month, at the end of the month. But yeah, a lot of cool things. They're overhauling exploration. That's going to be a lot more in-depth now. Mining asteroids looks really cool. You can blow up asteroids and stuff now. New ships, lots of new mechanics, and one of the cooler things, they haven't outlined everything yet, but one of the cool things that they mentioned in an article, I think that came out a little bit before it was supposed to, was scenarios mode, which I mentioned to you guys a little bit yesterday, or the day before, whenever the hell it was. Jesus Christ, you die so quick.
Remember when Rorschach in the movie died to a fat Mongolian? Why are you fighting Mongolians?
I don't know what the hell's going on here at all. He broke out of a prison or something. Now he keeps stabbing me with crowbars. Fuck off. Anyway, there's been a lot of stuff to do in Elite for a long time, but it's kind of all been player initiated.
Cut out those cigarettes. That's all that weed you've been smoking.
Oh man.
yeah,
Oh man. Forgot to mention that as well. Guys, we'll finish off on that. A lot of the stuff in the game has been player initiated, so you've kind of, for the most part, had to know where to go to start something, or had to like want to go do something, which I suppose is fine. But they're now adding new scenarios, which will kind of dynamically spring that content onto you. So like the example they gave or showed off to, I think it was PC Gamer, was you're just
Most
flying.
reputable of sources.
Flying. Maybe it was Eurogamer or something. I don't know.
Even more reputable.
I mean, I don't think it has to do with reputable. The Frontier mentioned it on the live stream.
Okay.
What the fuck is that guy doing? Anyway, you're flying along in your ship, and you'll just get a mayday call from like a nearby megaship saying we're under attack. If you're like a Federation pilot or in a military vessel, or inversely, if you're a pirate and they need help, they'll send you a message saying, "Hey, you want to help us with this?" And then you can just like
So it's like, instead of just being you stumble across this thing, it's like, depending on your like what faction you're associated with, you'll get a different type of distress call.
Yeah, so like there would be
like Preston Garvey. You get a Preston Garvey for each faction.
It's not like that. It's absolutely not like that. See, the problem is with Elite for a long time is there's always something happening in the game. There's always a war breaking out, or an invasion, or there's always something happening, some new exploration thing being discovered. But the problem was you never really knew where to find it or where to go to get it. The game didn't really display that information like through in-game means. You'd have to, like, somebody on Reddit would post about this thing and you'd be like, oh man, I'm gonna head over there and check it out. Now the game is displaying that in-game. So like if a war breaks out, or if something like, oh man, there's something to find over in this section of the galaxy, like, oh man, that's, it's all gonna be told to you in-game now. So I'm excited for that.
Are they gonna advance the story by a big chunk as well, I'm assuming?
Probably. There'll probably be more Thargoid and Guardian stuff. I mean, we already have some Guardian ships in the game that you can fly. They'll probably there was a mention of ships. Now they haven't outlined what the ships are, but a number of the people, about a month back, a number of the like big content creators for Elite in the community were invited to Frontier to look at the new update, and a lot of them were very excited by it. Jesus Christ, I can't move. We're excited by the new ships, so I'm looking forward to seeing those when they get revealed in the coming weeks. But anyway, yeah, we'll get into that when it comes out. Looks good though. Really excited about it.
I'm excited to see more from this update, even though I don't like super play Elite or anything.
Jesus
I'm always
Christ.
excited to see like you play and like get to see some new content from it. Cause
They're also adding volumetric ray marching cloud physics to the game now, which is cool because there's like gas clouds that you can find in just flying around in space, and you can fly into them, and there's like some of them will have like lightning and crystals and shit inside of them, big ice crystals from different things that you can then mine, which is cool, and even cooler going forward because they've always talked about doing that sort of thing with gas giants. So I imagine gas giants probably aren't too far away either. So I'm looking forward to that whenever that happens. They fucking kill you instantly. But big Canadian news this week. Do you guys want to talk about it?
Adam, how much dank weed have you been smoking?
Oh, I've been doing what the kids call fidget spinning up a dank herb.
Mm-hmm.
I've been memeing my way through the devil's lettuce. Weed is legal in this country now, and everyone lost their mind on Wednesday and then stopped talking about it.
Yeah, please stop talking about it.
Yeah.
It's been on the news for like 4 days in a row.
It's like we're continuing our live 24-hour coverage.
What happened is exactly what everyone thought would happen.
Yeah, we
Where-
became legalized, and then there nothing.
Big news, legitimately big news for the
Yeah.
world, and then nothing changed. Nobody cares now. It's just a thing.
They also sold out of weed very quickly.
Oh yeah, they're
Like the country's
Like,
out
we didn't
of
know
weed.
how much people wanted it.
It's
like,
actually
really?
a huge problem because their supply of legal weed is the only thing preventing the rise of the illegal market. Again.
Yeah.
So, it's like, you should probably get on that. Should plan for this.
Maybe though, like because you're allowed to have 4 plants per household.
Right.
So I feel like.
But is everybody going to start just growing their
Well,
weed?
no, but I feel like for the most part, if you can't obtain your own weed through a store, you're not going to go to a drug dealer and spend like 40 times the amount it is in a store. You're just going to grow your own plants.
Well, it's probably not going to be 40 times. I'd say since fines are much higher now for the illegal marketplace, there's a lot of dealers looking to get rid of their stock at this point.
Yeah, I suppose. But I mean, I don't know. I think if there's a shortage and people really want it, and they're not growing their own plants, you'll still probably have to pay like $40 a gram or whatever the hell street value was. So, is that lightning coming out of him? Is he lightning
Might be
man?
a special. He's like Batman, so I'm sure he's got like shock gauntlets.
Chocolates.
I guess.
Anyway, none of us here smoke weed, so whatever.
Smoke weed every day, y'all.
Anything else on the topic list before we get to the last thing?
Is the last thing the thing?
No,
Speaking
last
of
thing.
weedies,
Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
That's last?
Yeah.
go ahead and talk about it.
Hey, so, I know Adam watched this, and I watched the first episode.
Jesus Christ, just die.
Goblin Slayer.
It's a
new anime.
Yeah, so I went into this, somebody, like, I saw a bunch of people talking about, like, oh, check out Goblin Slayer, it's a really, like, it's a really, a really good anime, and the first episode is free on YouTube, so I watched it.
Oh, that was on Netflix.
No, it's on YouTube, it's coming out in Japan, it's a brand new anime.
It's from Crunchyroll, isn't it?
Maybe.
It's a pretty
I'm surprised
shitty
if it
name.
is.
Sounds pretty generic to me.
It starts off with a group of 4 very young adventurers who are like, we're
Like
gonna
Buffy.
get started. We're like typical anime protagonists, you know, blue hair, red hair, green hair, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we're gonna go and do this really easy dungeon. This
Like Buffy.
it's like basically it's a first level quest. Sorry. It's a first level quest, and it's like, oh yeah, we gotta go clean out this mine for a bunch of there's a bunch of goblins in this mine that we gotta clear out. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty standard first level
Gotta do each one, or
adventuring gear.
Huh?
pick
Or
it like you
fair.
actually would pick a lock. You gotta get the tumblers in place and then get them to stick there. From lowest to largest. Or lowest
What?
to highest.
Okay, whatever. Just do me to... Just talk about your stupid
Anyway,
Buffy ripoff.
and then the party proceeds to enter into the goblin mine, and then they proceed to get fucked. Literally. One of the characters is brutally ganged up on, stabbed in the stomach, and raped. One of the characters...
No, she gets poisoned and dies.
No, she gets raped because
the second one gets raped.
2 of them get raped. There are 3 female characters, 2 of them get raped. Because when they come back to her, not only does she have none of her clothes on, but her nipples have been cut off, and she's completely naked. She was raped.
Were they cut off, or I thought that was like bits of clothing?
No, they were cut off, I'm pretty sure. That was splotches of blood.
Pepperonis.
I don't think so. I gotta watch it again. I watched it just like 20 minutes before you picked me up, so
Okay.
we'd have something to talk about. I'm pretty sure it was just like their way of censoring it.
Well, regardless...
Even if it was cut off, anyway, it's not so much. My problem with it isn't so much that it was, they were raped.
Although, I will say, it's probably the most visceral, violent, graphic depiction of rape I've ever seen in an anime.
I've seen worse.
In an
but
anime?
In like, this is like tame compared to some of the 80s shit.
The only other one I will admit that's worse than this is Berserk. Because there's a pretty bad one, there's a couple of bad ones in Berserk. But it was less like... I mean, obviously rape is a horrible thing, and it's awful.
Oh,
Don't do it. But it's
Yeah, but I don't think they shouldn't be allowed to show it.
what? No.
Are you arguing that they shouldn't?
No, I'm arguing.
Rape shouldn't be in this.
No, I'm arguing that people shouldn't rape people.
Okay, yeah, no, that I agree with.
But what I'm saying is, what made this rape
climb
especially like visceral for me is when you go into Berserk. Berserk spends the first 2 or 3, because I read the manga. Berserk spends the first 2 or 3, kind of manga setting up how brutal the world is. There's people getting chopped in half and like pulled apart and stuff. So when someone gets raped, you're like, tonally, I'm expecting that. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of rape in media, but that's more of a personal opinion. It's not like I don't think there should be any rape in media at all.
If you watch it too much, you do it. So be careful.
It's more like I'm not a big fan of this, but I can appreciate what it does for the. And anyway, I don't want to get into the conversation of rape, but this one it begins. Oh, we're happy anime protagonists doing our happy anime protagonist thing. Rape, and it's just like, holy fuck. It that immediately sets the tone of
Well,
this.
yeah, it's brutal death and rape.
Yeah.
It is really just setting up that goblins are little pieces of shit.
Yeah, and then when the titular Goblin Slayer shows up, and by the way, that's his name. I don't think he has a name.
The what?
Goblin Slayer. He's a character who, he's like, I think he's like a silver ranked adventurer out of...
Yeah.
I think there's only 2 higher. There's gold and diamond ranked, and he's like the 3rd highest ranked adventurer you can get. All he does is kill goblins, and he kills them brutally. So he's really good at killing goblins, and he brutally kills them. And at one point in the episode, they're like spoiler alerts to this entire episode, but you really should go watch it. He's like, they're in the goblin's secret lair. They've killed all the adult goblins, and he rips open like this secret passage, and there's like 4 goblin babies. And he's like, well, and he picks up a club, and like the priest that she's with is like, what are you doing? And he's like, I gotta kill him. He's like, why? He's like, because they hold grudges, and they'll come back even stronger, looking for vengeance. I might as well just kill him now. And then he proceeds, not on camera, but he proceeds to butcher these goblin babies. And I'm
He
like,
shies away from it. Good scene though.
Jesus.
Good scene.
It's. I'm not arguing that it's a bad anime, because I certainly don't think it is. I think it's a very good anime, but it's certainly go into it knowing that there is rape and child death in this.
Not human child death.
No, but at the same time, I mean, they are infants that he is killing.
They're infants, but they're gonna grow up to be raping killers.
I mean, I don't want to get
without a doubt.
Yeah, but
it's
what
brought up in the show.
I don't. But regardless, what I'm saying is people are going to find that offensive. So if you find rape,
and you're supposed to find it shocking.
Yeah, and so if you find that like super
Adam had the
offensive
opportunity to kill baby Hitler and walked away.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Just absolutely do not do.
Let Hitler live.
Do not watch this show if that's going to be very disturbing to you, because this is a very disturbing show. Otherwise, the animation is good except for the parts where it's CG. For some reason, Goblin Slayer is CG sometimes.
CG looked like garbage. I am happy that the rest of the show wasn't CG trash.
And the music is fantastic, especially when Goblin Slayer appears.
It's very reminiscent of Dark Souls.
Yeah. Well, no, because Dark Souls has a very haunting soundtrack.
I thought this was kind of haunting. The electric guitar, yeah, but there's some.
Oh yeah, some of the like when the goblins
are
just like running rampant and killing the adventurers, it's like, oh shit, we're being this is Dark Souls. But then when the Goblin Slayer shows up, it's like, oh, this is the Doom Marine with a sword.
I like when they stumble across Nipple Lady. She's like, kill me.
Yeah,
and he just goes over. All right.
Yeah, and he stabs her in the throat. Fucking Jesus!
It really sets up the tone of that character, and that I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. It's definitely, this is not like high level fantasy where like, oh, Aragorn's going in and cutting through orcs.
I thought the actual world was kind of shitty. Like, they're talking about it in terms of, oh, these are low-level monsters.
Yeah.
Like, how self-aware is this show?
I don't know. Well, they talk about
stupid.
Well, in the next episode, there's one guy being like, "Oh, I want to," because episode 2 is out, and he's like, "Oh, I want to fight. Is there any quest for a dragon?" It's like, "Dragon, you'll never be able to take on a dragon. You're too low level." It's like, "No, that's why I need XP. I want to level up." And I'm like,
Jesus! I'm not gonna watch the rest of the series. That's really stupid.
It doesn't come up in much more. Although you should watch this. The parts with Goblin Slayer and Priestess are really good, but a lot of the other protagonists are not. Also, there's a character in the second episode who has her name is Cow Lady.
Fucking hit
because she's
a. Is she a unit?
Yeah, she is. She has the biggest breasts I've ever seen on an animated woman. But
life. Guts, like Ellie from Borderlands 2.
No, it's just tits.
Oh.
She's like 16 years old with like with size J breasts.
Man, you're
I'm
really...
assuming her job is to be milked.
No, well she milks cows.
Oh.
Not her. I don't know. It's
I've
weird.
gone to another area of anime.
Oh, I just supposed
Anyway,
to go the wrong way. Man,
it's,
you're really selling Adam. Sounds like my thing. I'll definitely watch it.
It's definitely like. It's
I'm
definitely
so
like not
excited.
for everybody.
No, but legitimately, the parts with Goblin Slayer
Are
killing
awesome.
goblins are awesome.
It's
Great.
less an epic fantasy fight, and more. Oh, I'm Orkin, and I'm here to exterminate some rats.
It's more just this guy is kind of a badass. Watch him do some badass things. It's like if you were playing D&D with a first level party that the DM was a piece of shit and just TPK'd.
Yeah.
And then like someone else comes into the room with a level 20 character,
Or even just like a level
cleans
1
house.
character who knows what the fuck he's at.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good. Well, I don't know if it's good yet. I've only seen one episode.
Man,
but
it
the first
certainly
episode's
sounded good when you explained it.
Yeah. Shut up, Aaron. Speaking of shut up, Aaron, you won an award.
Oh, yeah.
Last thing we should talk about is Aaron won a music award for best album art of the year for Golden Hour, I believe.
That's not what it was, but anyway.
What was it?
It's just Graphic Artist of the Year.
Oh, sorry.
It's based on your portfolio of the year.
Oh.
It's all the work you've done.
Congrats
not one
on your
specific
music
album.
work, Aaron.
Oh, thank you.
And frequent contributor and longtime fan of the podcast, Thomas, also won.
Frequent.
Yeah, he's on. Also won an award. He won Best Electronic Artist.
Good job, Thomas.
Yeah, nice work.
Which
Nice
is really
work,
good.
Thomas.
Actually, good job on your music career.
Yeah, Thomas, his
I gotta do this whole thing again.
his thing is his like title is Game Boy, and he does electronic music like that uses a lot of like 8-bit and 16-bit sounds. That's his thing. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's on iTunes or not.
Definitely don't get too big because I'm sure Reggie Tresme is gonna get on you about that.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we should probably end.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh,
Thank
there you go.
for joining us on this episode of the Pixel Junkies podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe the video, and join us next time.
Be like Goblin Slayer and brutally think of the like and subscribe button as a bunch of Goblin Blade babies and brutally murder those.
Yeah.
And play Watchmen game because it's so good.
Yeah. This looks like dog shit, Aaron. I should have mentioned like that. This looks like really boring and repetitive.
Yeah.
The only cool thing about the game is being able to throw people, but these Mongolians are throw proof, so it took away my fun. I gotta just kill them. There's all these Jordan guys with douche gnats
Is it
running
the
around.
South Park who the Chinese guy gets really mad at the Mongolians?
Goddamn Mongolians. That was a bad impression.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
in there.
Fuck this game. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.